Legacy Leagues. Tell me what will your legacy be?
Welcome to the Legacy League's 2-minute drill. I'm Aidan Thompson, and we kick off week 2 with the game of the week, Halfway Crooks versus the Ozone Boys. These two teams were pretty evenly matched heading into this matchup. However, the Crooks' ability to defend the paint is what led to their success. Spence Freeman had 26 points, and he led the way for the Crooks. Jeff Winchell also added 20 points, 14 boards, and 4 blocks, and he made the paint his home. The complete defensive effort by the Crooks is what helped them succeed in this game. However, the Ozone Boys were able to cut it to 2 within the final few minutes, but the Crooks were able to continue scoring and get the defensive stops they needed in order to win the game. The final score was Halfway Crooks 66, Ozone Boys 59. Next up is the Duyer's Boys versus the Rhode Island Warriors. The key to Duyer's success was finding their rhythm early and knocking down the easy shots. At the end of one, they were up by 12 and they never looked back. The Warriors were forced to play catch-up for the rest of the game. They got shots to fall down with an impressive night from Charles Correa dropping 21, shooting 8 of 19. Poor shooting, but the Warriors were still able to score. They have scored 80-plus in the last 2 games, and they look to get into the win column in Week 3. But poor play and poor communication is what led to them being unable to beat the Duyer's Boys. John Coutu had 29 on 12 of 14. Vincent Volpe had 28 on 12 of 15. Brian Yarcy and Zach Tartaglia also contributed to the Duyer's Boys' run. When they are in rhythm, the Duyer's Boys are unstoppable. Their big three of Coutu, Volpe, and Tartaglia look unstoppable as they won by 20 with a final score of 102 to 82. Next up was Sin City versus the Werewolves. Coming off a strong Week 1 win, the Werewolves looked to capitalize on this momentum. However, that was not the case. The absence of big man Connor Harrington showed for the Wolves in this game. They were unable to guard Devin Pena, who had 22 for Sin City, since there was no one in the paint who could match him. The excellent defense played by Sin City and excellent play by Devin Pena is what contributed to their victory this week. They were able to hold the Wolves to only 11 points in the fourth quarter and held Brian Heston to 6 of 12, only scoring 16 points. He had a weirdly off night. Their great defensive stops is what led to their victory, 70 to 55 over the Werewolves in Week 2. Now on to Lob City versus Bogey Kicks. The first half saw Bogey Kicks attempt to keep up with Lob City, which they were able to do to an extent after only being down by 10 and a half, but that did not last very long. Lob City was led by Colin Burns, who had 31 and 11 rebounds. Jose Mercado had a quiet night, but shot 70% from the field. David DePina and Mike Evans were the reasons why Bogey Kicks were able to be in this game for a close moment. They were able to get some defensive stops, but Lob City was just too much as Lob City could score efficiently, leading them to a 90-60 win over Bogey Kicks in Week 2. Lastly, we have Only the Fam versus the Lincoln 18ers. Both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, but Only the Fam was the better team tonight. Jaron Thomas led the way with a league high of 39 this week, followed by Tucker Aiello's 19 and the great defense played by Jake Perry. Only the Fam played the way they wanted to, but were visibly tired during the game due to the small bench. That's what led to the Lincoln 18ers being able to cut and take the lead with 2 minutes left in the game, but Only the Fam was able to score in crunch time, giving them the 80-71 win. That about wraps it up for Week 2 slates of games. Don't forget to follow all our social media accounts to stay up to date with the league. Legacy Leagues, build your legacy.